Zach Life Beat Depression. It's day 797, and we were back for another dose of heaven with a somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in now. Anyone who's tuning in later, you may notice the studio, Sake House, got another upgrade. We've got brand new mats in here, great for jumping around, taking that impact. Going to get some warm-up exercises in today, just a little bit before we get into the main sesh. But as always, our goal with this program is martial arts for mental health. So we want to make sure that we tune in to those powerful mental health tools. And the first one is gratitude. We start every single show with a piece of gratitude. Since I found out that gratitude can be a powerful tool, I've been using it every day. And I got to say, coupled with everything else that we're doing in here, it definitely adds. It definitely makes it easier to find those silver linings and look forward to those positive things in life, especially when things go wrong or when we're presented with challenges or stress, which is always going to happen, right? It's all about how we handle that stress, how our perspective is, how we can process that stress and then move forwards through it, growing through what we go through. So gratitude today, going out to the first one in Lisa the Luminary, the rock out there, being super consistent. Definitely you have the longest running record of consistency and progress out there. It's day 797 for me, so it's got to be day 497 of consecutive progress for Lisa out there. Thank you for being my sister in arms in the fight against depression, the fight forwards towards better mental health. Even if you're not dealing with depression, we can all benefit from stress relief, anxiety relief, and tools to help us through stressful situations in life. So thank you for sharing in this progress and being there with me. I appreciate you. You are the focus of my gratitude section today. And I also want to shout out gratitude to I Am Carlson out there, Nina Carita, Greg Wooten, Antonio Lama, and all the people out on the West Coast that are supporting this movement, that have lent their time and energy to help me raise awareness and empower others with these free tools that can potentially have a tremendous impact in their lives. These are the things that help me overcome suicidal ideation, overcome the debilitation associated with depression, come off of medication, out of therapy with a green light from my doctor. So tremendous potential for good, and I want to thank everybody for supporting that and for helping me move forwards as we continue to go. Now, I am still waiting on the bus any day now. I want to shout gratitude as well to Eurobus out there in Colorado for agreeing to take on the project of putting a brand new Subaru motor in the Beat Depression bus. So hopefully very soon we'll be back up and running and traveling across America, empowering people all along the way with free training and bringing that heavy bag, that thing that saved my life, that tool that I started with, the catalyst to my success, bringing that to the people who need it so they can feel that feeling. Because we get a lot of release through this class, we got a lot of release through physical movement, and I know that, Lisa, you have bought yourself a heavy bag, and you've been training on that, so no doubt you have felt that difference between physically getting that impact, getting that feedback, and putting that energy into a physical object versus putting that energy just out into the air. It is a different feeling. It has a different effect. It has the same effect, but kind of an amplified one. So we've got to find those tools that work for us. The bag was the first one that I found that helped me out of that bad situation and forward into nonstop progress out here for the last almost 800 days. So I want to bring it to other people, and that's what I'm going to do. Whether I'm a man, a business, a charity, whatever it is, I'm doing it as a human being, helping other people. Whatever we become, but that's what it's going to be at its core. Sharing my self-care with the world. Hopefully you guys are benefiting. I know, Lisa, you're having a good time out there. So thank you so much for being a part of this. That being said, that was my gratitude section. You are my gratitude section today, Lisa. Go ahead and think about your gratitude section for today and checking in on comments. Lisa said, I love my bag. Every time I go down in the basement to do laundry, it calls to me. Yeah, that's great. That is great. I love the bag too. When I put it in my home, I put it in the main room of my home. I got rid of my living room. As you can see, I don't mind sacrificing conveniences for the sake of training. But I put it in the main room of my living room, and every day that I saw it, it just was... It's like that feeling. It's calling. It wants to be punched. It wants to be hit. So it was such a good motivator and such a good tool to help me through, especially through the quarantine, that quarantine time that we all went through right at that first COVID explosion that we had, when everyone was stuck indoors, I was stuck indoors with my back. I was hitting that thing and building myself up every single day, relieving that stress, relieving that anxiety, and literally saved my life. So yes, I know the feeling, and I am glad that you are experiencing that too. And I hope that you're developing those skills so that one day when we link up with the bus, we can do a session out on a mountain or in the desert or in the woods or on the beach or somewhere out in nature, so we can combine multiple therapies into one super effective routine together. Looking forward to it, Lisa. Also, I want to check in on the other ones in here now. Master Checo, I see you. This kid is lucky. Billy the Savage, thank you for being here. And Slayer Ken, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys and girls out there. Today, we talked about gratitude already. Well, let's talk about that second tool, progress tracking tool. Keeping track of that number builds up into more self-confidence, self-esteem, self-validation, which is something not even depression or anxiety can take away from us, especially once we keep track, right? It's easy to forget how far we've come and how much endurance and strength we've displayed if we're not keeping track of it. So please do keep track of that number, put it somewhere you can see it, and let it anchor you back into the credit that is due to you for that forward progress, for that forward momentum that you're building. It's been 797 days for me. It's been 497 days for Lisa. It's been 405 days for Slayer Ken. Thank you guys for sharing your progress. Thank you for inspiring others, myself included. And checking in, I see Luca, my buddy Luca from Canada's tuning in as well. And Billy said, it does save lives, and it did for me. And I am just grateful to be a part of that, man. To be able to share my progress with you, the thing that saved my life, and to get that kind of feedback from others. That's powerful words. So yeah, that's fulfillment right there. Thank you for sharing. Getting back on track. They deserve the clap again. Yes, absolutely. You guys and girls, you all deserve the clap. You all get the clap today. Sad man. And you got claps coming in from Billy the Savage as well. Appreciate you guys and girls. That being said, let's get back on track. I'm getting sentimental out here. Today's lesson, we're going to talk about more push techniques. We talked about that hand push 2 days ago. It is not pizza day. Lucas said it's pizza day. Not pizza day today. Not for me anyway. If it is for you, enjoy that pizza as a reward after you get that training in. But today we're going to go back to some more push techniques. We're going to use that push knee we talked about yesterday and the day before. And the day before that, we talked about the push arm. So we're going to put those things together. We're going to use that push technique, jab, cross, push, stepping forwards and pushing. That push technique, taking that opponent off balance. We're going to talk about the jab, elbow, and then the push knee from close range. And we're also going to talk about a nice long range push maneuver we can use that will knock our opponent off balance and also create an opening for us to jump in there and fire back with an attack. And that is the classic, the staple in Muay Thai, one of the staples in Muay Thai, of the push kick. And today we're going to do it with the lead leg. So that lead push teep is what we're working on. We're going to drive the ball of that foot straight forwards, keeping the guard high on the opposite side, bringing that leg up on one plane, swinging it right up to the hip, and then driving it forwards. Want to let those shoulders go back as the hips move forwards. That creates that balance in our technique. Shout out to Fiery Human. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. So we're going to be talking about 3 push techniques. The standard push, which just comes from that lead hand. We're just twisting through the body, twisting through the shoulders and hips, just like we would for a jab. But we're using an open palm, and we're going to use it maybe if our opponent is blocking our attacks, right? They've got a really good foundation, and they keep blocking our attacks. Everything's getting deflected. A good way to create an opening there is to just place a hand and torque through that shoulder and hip, and really drive. Plant that rear foot on the ground, right? Jab, cross, it's getting deflected. We're going to plant that rear foot on the ground and then drive. Kind of stepping and drive forwards through the hips and shoulders, pushing and making sure that rear foot is planted, right? Jab, cross, got deflected, rear foot's planted, push, driving through the shoulders and hips, knocking them off balance. When we're very close and we want to use a push technique, it's not going to come from that arm because we won't have that reach. When we're very close, like we were with that elbow range, what we can do is bring this rear leg up or the lead leg up, either one. Let's stick with the lead leg for all of these. So we'll do lead teep, we'll do lead push, we'll do lead knee, lead knee, push knee as well. So when we're in close, like we would be with elbow range, we're going to bring that knee straight up, right inside the pocket, right here. Just getting up there in between you and your opponent. And then we're going to drive it forward, same way that we drive those hips forwards for the teep kick. See, same hip rotation, same hip motion there. If we bring it up for the lead push knee, driving it through those hips, letting the shoulders go back. If we bring it up for the teep, same thing. Driving through the hips, letting those shoulders go back. And that rotation will keep us on balance so that we don't fall backwards or forwards. And we want to make sure on all of these techniques, on the jab, cross, push, that rear foot goes flat. That'll give us a good anchor, a good plant there. Shout out to Mira Wade, Jump Rope Superstar. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Check her out if you get a chance. She does amazing things with the rope. And just an example of what hard work and dedication and consistency can give you. What kind of results consistency can give you. A beautiful part about martial arts and what we do in here is that there's unlimited room for growth. And with consistency and dedication, you can continue to learn and grow and unlock new avenues for progress. And I see Mira do the same thing with the jump rope, doing all kinds of stuff you'd never even imagined. It's the same feeling. It's that same unlimited growth and progress potential out there. So we all got to find our ways forwards. Thank you for sharing yours and inspiring others, Mira. All right, back on track. So we're talking about push techniques from Muay Thai stance. We're nice and balanced. We're squared up with our opponent. We're tossing the jab and cross. And then we're going to rotate and plant that rear foot so we're nice and solid, right? Nice and planted. And we're going to torque through the hips and shoulders, pushing that opponent off balance. Second push technique is going to be that close range one. So we're going to step in for the jab. We're going to slide forwards for an elbow. And then again, we're going to plant that rear foot. Plant that rear leg nice and tight, nice and planted on there, nice and stable. We're still balanced. Bring that rear knee up and the hips in, and then drive it forwards through the hips. Last push technique we're going to use is from a long distance. So maybe you're tossing kicks, maybe you're throwing some long range weapons, and they're blocking them very well. You want to take them off their balance, take them out of their guard. We're going to use that long range push kick to knock them back, bringing that rear leg up, and again, rear foot's going to go flat. Most of the time we're on the ball of the foot, we're turning for our striking. But when we go to a pushing technique, we want that rear foot to plant and be really stable, nice and sturdy. Leg straight, rear foot planted. We're bringing that lead foot up into the hips and then driving it forwards with the ball of the foot. Now, if you wanted to turn that teep into a striking technique or make it painful for your opponent or do some damage to Bob, then instead of driving with the ball of the foot, you can drive with the heel of the foot. So instead of curling the toes and pushing the ball, we're going to turn the whole foot back and drive that heel, driving that heel into the body. And that will be more of a striking technique there to do damage. But our goal here with this push kick is just to take them off balance, out of their guard, opening up maybe some room for a lunging attack, a nice Superman punch, or maybe some lunging roundhouse kick, whatever we'd like to do. Just discussing different options for knocking them off balance and taking them out of their guard. Mira said, hope all is good. It absolutely is. Hope all is good with you as well. And Becca Bookleaf, thank you for joining. Appreciate you for being here. Those are the moves that we're going to cover in today's 3 rounds, 3 minutes each, 1 minute breaks in between to catch your breath and drink some water. And maybe since I got these new mats in here, we'll do a little warm up if you're feeling it. You can follow along with me. We'll just do 20 jumping jacks, nice and easy at your pace. Just get warmed up, get loose, and then we'll get into the first session. Let's get some fighting spirit in here from our 80s boombox. And
pairing.
Let's go. Yeah, that's a good one. Nice 80s metal beat out there. All right, let's Tim, is it stronger to hi-ya with shoes on or no shoes on? You can be strong with or without shoes. Shoes don't make much of a difference when you've got proper technique. So, yeah, that's kind of like a trick question. So, let's get into a quick warm-up. Shout out to Paul Anthony Song. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. We're going to just warm up very quickly with 20 jumping jacks all together. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for tuning in. 20 jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and there we are, nice and warmed up. Hopefully you're staying nice and loose, nice and limber, getting that blood flowing, heart pumping, and we're ready to go. If you're feeling good, go ahead and pop into your Muay Thai position, right? Square up those hips and shoulders with that opponent. Visualize that target. Remember, to keep a mental health focus, we want to assign that target the name of the thing we're working on. So if it's depression or anxiety, make it that depression dummy. And we're going to get into some fundamentals now. Let's do this thing. Square up. Visualize that opponent. We're going to start with the step into the jab. Step in, twisting through the jab. Rotate right on through for the cross. And then back to stance. Keep it moving. Step for the jab. Rotate for the cross. Back to stance. Proper form. Think about rolling those shoulders, curling those hips. Chin tuck. Look for those points of improvement. Step in for the jab. Rotate for the cross. And now we're going to add in a push. So what do we want to do? We want to turn, planting that rear foot, right? A good anchor, nice solid foundation. And we're going to shove through the shoulders and hips. Shove and drive that lead hand forwards. Open palm, pushing them off of their balance. Back to stance. Let's work that push in. Square up with that opponent. Get into your Muay Thai stance. Start shifting that weight frontwards and backwards. Step in for the jab cross. Jab cross. Now we're going to turn it into a push, so we want to plant that rear foot. Boom. Anchor that rear foot. Straighten out the leg for torque and support. And now we're driving through the hips and shoulders. Open palm. Push them off their balance. Take them off that guard. We're visualizing an opponent that's doing very well at defense, right? They're deflecting our shots. We're going to take them off their balance. Let's get back into it. Toss the jab and cross. Jab, cross. Plant the rear foot as you rotate, right? Straightening out the leg and drive through the hips and shoulders, pushing that opponent off balance. Back to stance. Guard high, chin tucked. Jab cross, pop, pop. It got deflected. Turn, plant that foot and drive through the hips and shoulders, driving that lead hand forwards, pushing them back, knocking them off balance, creating some openings. Back to stance, guard high. Jab cross, plant that rear foot, push with that lead hand. Back to stance. Jab, cross, plant the rear foot, push. Start to make it more fluid. Find ways to link those moves up and flow right through them. Jab, cross, push. Back to stance. Jab, cross, push. Back to stance. Now, one thing we don't want to do, or we don't necessarily have to do, is don't lean into that push, right? It is a push, but we still want to use that torque. We want to use that torque and that foundation from that rear foot and just rotate through. Just rotate nice and planted and push that opponent forwards. We don't have to lean in. We can keep our balance, keep our core nice and tight, head on that center line, everything nice and stable. Let's take it from the top. Jab, cross, push. Boom, back to stance. Jab, cross, push, and back to stance. Jab, cross, push, and back to stance. Keep it going. Jab, cross, push, and back to stance. And back. And back. And back. Exhaling on those strikes will add more power and engage that core. Keep it rolling. 1, 2, push, and back. 1, 2, push. And that is the end of round 1. Round 2, we're going to get into that long teep, which will knock them off balance from a distance. And Ken says, haven't done jumping jacks in a while. It's a good time to start back up, right? I'm doing it today because we got these new sweet mats in here. They are roll-out mats from Dolomer. Awesome so far. They feel great, nice and spongy, and I want to take advantage of them. So I'll be getting my bonus round in here today with Bob, checking out these mats, checking out how they feel for some roundhouse kicks and things. And I'm pretty excited about my bonus round for today. So I figured I'd share some of that bonus with you, with that warm-up. And also, it's been a while, right? It's been a while since we did that together. We might bring bonus rounds back to the show, but in the meantime, when I'm doing additional training in town, it doesn't make sense for me to do bonus rounds every day here and then do additional bonus rounds out there. I don't want to overwork myself. So we got 5 seconds. Shawnee boy, thank you for joining. We're going to bop into this next combo session, and we're going to start with the teep. So we're going to start with that lead teep, bringing that from Muay Thai stance. We're going to bring that lead foot up, all right? Lead foot comes straight up, hips in, drive that foot forwards. As the hips go forward, shoulders move back to balance and add that rotational force into that strike. We're pushing with the ball of our foot for the sake of keeping it a T. Guard high. Bring that lead kick up, right here. You can have that lead hand out for balance. Bring that leg up, and we're driving through from the hips. Again, planting that rear foot as we drive through the hip will give us more torque, more power, rather than being on the ball of the foot. So most of the time for our rotating techniques, right, we're turning the ball of that foot so we can get power through that rotation. But for the teep, when it's a push kick, we're gonna plant that foot and drive through that hip. Drive through that hip and push that foot forwards. Check it out. Jab, cross, plant that rear foot, drive that lead foot, pushing through that hip. Let that hip go forwards as the shoulders go backwards, keeping that guard tight and that balance nice and even. Back to stance. Hit him with the jab, cross. Jab, cross, push. Back to stance, lead T. Lead T, lead T, and jab cross, jab cross, jab cross, push. Back to stance. Let's talk about a little range attack here. Hit him with that lead T. We've knocked him off balance. He's stumbling backwards. I want you guys to lunge in, hop in on that front foot, and drive a nice Superman punch over the top. Boom, kicking that foot back at the same time. Square up, back to stance. Jab, cross, push. Push them off balance. Step in and hit them with a lead T. Boost. Boom, keep that drive going. Keep pushing them back. Let's work some forward momentum in there. Jab, cross, push. Push them off balance. Hop forwards. Lead teep again. Push them off balance again. Let's keep it going. Pushing them back. Back to stance. Square up. Give yourself some room. Jab, cross, push. Leap forwards and hit them with a Superman punch if you remember how. Leap forwards. Bang. Drive over the top with that fist. Back to stance. Jab, cross, push. Jab, cross, push. Again, remember when you push to plant that rear foot. Whoosh. And drive through the body. Making sure you have a nice solid base. Back to stance. Jab, cross, push. Jab, turning the fist over. Cross, turning the fist over. Plant that rear foot as you rotate back to square. And then drive through the hips and shoulders for that lead push. Good work. We got 56 seconds. And then we're going to get into that final session where we talk about the elbow strike and that lead push knee. And Lucas said, do you do blocks at Muay Thai or just Hayat? Yes, there's plenty of blocks. So those slips are blocks. We also do parries. We also do a little bit of roll, just minute rolls around punches, get out of the way of those incoming punches and hooks. But yes, there are plenty of blocking techniques. Also for kicks, we've got to block kicks too, right? We check kicks by bringing that knee up to the inside of the elbow and checking those kicks. Boom, again, staying nice and balanced, staying nice and tall. Boom, boom. We create that shell so we can block those incoming attacks. Some days we do defense. We'll work it in to the next round if you want to learn some blocks. Not the next round, the next session. So come back tomorrow and we'll work on some defense. For now, let's talk about that close range push attack. When you're too close to push with the hand and you're not far enough away to push with the foot, we're going to push with the knee. That's our mid-range push attack. It's also a very good close range push attack. So first thing we want to do is we want to get into that close range position. We're going to start by stepping into the jab bump. Pretend we made contact there, but they defended. We're going to rotate forwards like we did yesterday into that sliding elbow strike. Bring that rear hand, right? Drop it into the pocket. Slide forwards, bring that elbow close. And then we're going to square up. We're going to bring that knee up, planting that rear foot, just like we do for all those push kick techniques, all those pushing techniques. Plant that rear foot, bring the knee right up in between you and your opponent. Nice close range. And then we're going to drive through the hip. Doesn't take much, couple of inches, and you can toss that opponent clear across the room if you get really good at that hip rotation. Back to stance, square up. Let's talk about that real close range push knee. Step in for the jab, slide forwards for the elbow strike. Now we're going to rotate to square. Notice that rear foot plants. We're solid. Bring that lead knee up and into the hips, right? Standing nice and tall, and then drive it. Drive it forwards, couple inches, right? Doesn't have to take much. And you can start working on hip rotation in there as well. But the main factor here to generate power is going to be that from the hips. Whoosh, driving those hips forwards. Work it out. Let's go. Square up with that visualized opponent. Step in for the jab. Bah. Right there. Guards high. Nice and tight. We're going to slide forwards on that rear foot for the elbow strike. Then we're squaring up. We're planting that rear foot nice and planted. Bring the lead leg up. Drive through for that push knee. And then back to stance. Let's keep it rolling. Square up with that opponent. Step in for the jab. Pop. Slide forwards for the elbow. Lead push knee. Let's do it. Boom. Push knee. Back to stance. You notice arm chopping too. That's optional. You can chop that arm. Keep aware that you're going to lower. You'll lose the guard if you chop the arm. So it's a good idea to tuck the chin in and bring the shoulder close. Create an alternate guard as you chop that arm. Just a small point of reference there. Let's try it again. Step in for the jab. Slide forwards for the elbow. Square up. Knee up. Boom. Drive that knee forwards. Push knee. Back into stance. Jab, cross, push. Lead, push, leg, push, teeth. Bang. Jab, elbow, lead, push, knee. Boom. Back to stance. Square up. Keep it tight. Keep the chin tucked. Guard high. Visualize the opponent. Jab, cross. Jab, cross, push. Lead, teeth. Jab, elbow. Bang. And then lead, push, knee. Bang. There it is. And that is the end of 3 rounds of progress and success. Well done if you stuck with us. That was 9 minutes of exercise that can literally change your life. If you do keep track of it, it will build up more and more into more and more proof that you are stronger than those debilitating effects of depression and anxiety. So make sure that you do keep track of your progress. That way you can give yourself proper credit for it. And remember how strong you are when you are dealing with those temporary thoughts or temporary feelings that depression or anxiety tries to put on us. Things that might make us worried about things we don't have to worry about, because we have proof. We have proof that we survived. We have proof that we are stronger than those temporary thoughts, and we can overcome those obstacles. So please do keep track of that progress. Let it build up. Share it with others. You can build them up too. You can inspire them to make progress. You can improve your environment, and by way of improving your environment, again, improve your life as well. So until next time, let me check on those comments real quick. Is it Superhero Sunday tomorrow? No, tomorrow is Saturday. One more day and then we'll have Superhuman Sunday on Sunday. And that's our low intensity class. We want to get an active recovery session. And what if do it hurt if the other guy hi me or you? It always hurts if you get hit. So the goal is not really to fight here. The goal is really to get rid of that anxiety in a healthy way. Hit the bob, hit the bag. We want to avoid altercations with people, ideally. That's the best way to stay safe and avoid broken noses and all kinds of injuries that you would get from sparring or fighting. Just avoid the fight. It's important to be prepared, right? We want to be, what's the phrase? It's better to be a warrior in times of peace. No, a warrior in a rice field than a farmer on a battlefield. I think that's the term. We just want to be prepared and capable of handling any situation that arises, or making ourselves more prepared, more capable to handle any situation that arises. That way we can build that confidence in us that allows us to not even be worried that there is a threat. So, until Lucas said, do not hire out people. Yes, in general, do not hire out people without their consent. If you have a consenting person and you're training together, then it's fine. But if you didn't ask permission and they didn't say it was okay, don't punch them in the face, unless it's self-defense. There are caveats to every rule. You'll learn as you grow. Until next time, I will catch you guys same sack time, same sack challenge, same sack life. Sack man out.